So you have clicked on this video. So it means that you want to crack this exam, and I feel that is probably the most important thing or the ingredient to crack this exam. The urge, the will, the craving to crack it. See, the difference between the people who want to crack this exam and who hope to crack this exam is that सिर्फ hope करने से नहीं होगा. You really need to crave it. And once you know that you want it and you start craving for it, na, you will find excuses to put in the effort. You will find excuses to put in the time. So problem सब मसले सब चले जाएंगे. It will just become a clear path to your goal, that is AIIMS in INICET exam. And unless you have that will, that intention to crack this exam, the whole video will be useless to you. Because honestly, क्या पढ़ना है, कैसे पढ़ना है, वो सबको पता है. What I need from you is that will, that fire to crack this exam. And if you have it, trust me, that is the most difficult thing to have, and you already have it. Everything after that is easy. Trust me, I'll just show you how easy it is. We just have a few weeks left before the exam, पता है मुझे. And if you know me, I have to be brutally honest with you. 3 हफ्ते पढ़ने से नहीं होगा. If you have not been preparing, if you don't know anything, just sitting down and studying for these 3 weeks, नहीं होने वाला. People will lie to you, नहीं होगा. So don't waste your time. Go study and plan for November or next year. But if you've been preparing for the NEET PG exam और उसमें आपका rank अच्छा नहीं आया, you worked hard but you couldn't get what you thought you could, or you didn't get what you wanted to get. Trust me, you have the ingredients to crack this exam. है आपके पास. You have the information necessary. You just need to refine it and tweak it a little. And these 3 weeks are more than enough, because INICET exam is probably the most predictable exam that you will ever write as a PG aspirant in India, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to what I have to tell you, and if you start following that, you yourself will realize कि यार ये तो बहुत predictable है. And if it is not, please come back into the comments and tell me I was wrong. ठीक है ना? So with that said, following are the 5 most important things that you should focus on if you aspire to crack INICET and get into AIIMS. And you know what is the interesting thing? All of these 5 things depend on one very important aspect. But before I tell you, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Basali, a full-time orthopedic surgeon and a faculty of orthopedics. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So what is that common thing tying the 5 important aspects of preparation together? It is the previous year questions. See, in order to crack INICET exams, you should be familiar. No. Familiar is not a strong word. You should be thorough. Thorough nahi. You should be master. You should be master in the previous year questions. So you should know. You should start with at least the last 3-year previous questions, and then if you have time, move on to the last 5-year previous questions. And उसके बाद भी अगर आपके पास time, if you're lucky, then possibly go to the last 10-year questions. Trust me, your whole preparation depends on your knowledge about the previous year questions and its related topics. The moment you start doing the previous year questions, you yourself will start realizing, यार ये तो बहुत repeat होता है. You see a question and you will realize, यार it was asked like a few years ago. But the point is, it is being asked in a slightly different light, and you should know that. So the INICET exam has 200 questions, right? And once you start doing the previous year questions, you will realize that a lot of them are asked from previous year or related topics. So when you do 3-year questions, you will realize here 80 questions are from those last 3 years. If you keep on increasing the number of years from 3 to 5, 5 to 10, you will realize here 80 nahi, around 120 are related from the previous year topics. The number of repeat questions and repeat topics will keep on increasing as you increase your knowledge of the previous year questions. See, what I feel is INICET exam is the best form of standardized testing in India. The examiners expect you to know a few things. So you don't have to know everything, but whatever you know, you should know very well. And because they want you to know everything around that topic, they will ask you questions that are pretty deep from that topic itself. So what topic to pura karna. And I find it very practical for the purpose of the exam. You see, suppose you want to hire a cook or domestic help for your home, right? काम वाली चाहिए घर पे, तो क्या करोगे? What are the kind of questions you ask her or him? खाना पकाना आता है, बर्तन धोने आता है, जो खाना आपको चाहिए वो बनाना आता है. These are the essential things or the priorities that you want answered properly, right? Now, apart from that, if she can also help you with taxes and doing the PPT for your class, वो bonus है. Right? That is not essential. Your hiring or not hiring the help does not depend on the bonuses. It depends on the essential functioning like khana pakana and bartan dhona, right? So that is the kind of mindset these examiners have when it comes to INICET exam. They want you to know the important topics thoroughly. Basics and fundamentals में कोई compromise नहीं है. So सर हम कितना deep जाएं? एक ही topic को पकड़ के we can't keep on studying it deeper and deeper, right? You're right. So like I said, coming back to the original point, the fundamental point is previous year questions. So more the previous year questions you keep doing, the more clarity you will get what the examiner expects of you from a particular subject. For example, supracondylar humerus fracture. 1 year they will ask you the classification, another year they will ask you the management, another year they will ask you the complications, another year they will ask you the management of the complication, but question is everywhere around supracondylar humerus fracture. So while doing these previous year questions, you will realize there is a topic that is frequently asked in INICET and was not asked in NEET PG and you did not read about it. This is the time to master it. So these are the novel or different topics that are usually preferred in INICET exam compared to your NEET PG. Now the question is, sir, theek hai, right? We'll do the previous year questions, but from where? The answer is anywhere, right? This is 2023. Previous year questions are out there in the market. If you have already purchased an app, it will definitely be inside, right? So if you have Maru, use Maru. Purchase a question bank book, right? Previous year questions, बहुत सारे market में. Ask your friends or seniors, right? Just find a way to get access to those questions. Once you know the questions, उसका information तो आपके पास notes में है ना? That is there with you. You have been preparing. Use your source to answer the questions. You need to know the questions because you want to understand what the examiner wants you to know. The second important thing I want you to remember is that you have to avoid fancy new things and unsolicited gyan on internet, right? If you've been doing something that works for you now, you turn off this video. Don't watch this video also. This video is not for you. आपका काम चल रहा है, चलाओ ना. This video is for people who don't know what to do. In this age of information overload, there will be so many new books that will be available, so many new apps, so many short courses, focused courses, पता नहीं कितने सारे courses और आएंगे. I want you to be brave enough not to waste your time and money. अगर आपके पास पैसे ज़्यादा है and you want to purchase these things, I'll try to leave a link for a charity foundation in the description. आप उसमें जाके donate कर लेना, दुआ लग जाएगी आप. Do not waste your money. Do not fall for that FOMO. Whatever you have is more than enough. I'm not saying that the new books that are out there, all right, the new apps that are out there, they are not good. I'm not saying that. Let me ask you this question. What is the most important thing for exams in India? The most important thing is time, because these are time-bound exams. You have to prepare in the fixed time. कुछ नहीं कर सकते. If you miss this opportunity, you have to come to it next year or in November. Now, if you're in a time crunch and you have to reach somewhere, what will you prefer using? Something that you know how to drive and are familiar with, or something fast and fancy and new? For example, आपको emergency है, hospital भागना है, आपकी अपनी गाड़ी है और helicopter भी है, and you have been driving the car from the last 10 years. What will you use? You don't know how to drive the helicopter. I know helicopter is fast, तेज है, जल्दी ले जाएगा, but आपको आता नहीं है ना, क्या करोगे? So use your car because आपकी lead को बरकरार रखना है ना. So for that, you need to leverage your seniority with the subject, the familiarity with the subject. So don't fall for that trap. Don't get anything new. You don't need it. Everything is in the previous year questions and topic. Just know what it is and read the information from your old notes. Now the third important thing is to focus on subjects that you can actually finish compared to something that you cannot. So you have to be very smart about what you're going to read. So for example, I'll tell you, if you start picking up medicine now and reading it, it is not going to be possible. नहीं होगा आपसे, बहुत सारा. So you need to find the subjects that will give you the best bang for your buck in this limited time. My advice is short subjects, right? Do it thoroughly. All the short subjects, do it thoroughly. कुछ भी करके, कैसे भी करके finish कर लो. Finish कर लो मतलब last 10 years के previous year questions and उसके topics कर लो. And once you do it, then revise the other areas of those short subjects. And for long subjects, I would rely more on the previous year questions first for all of them. And once you're done with the previous year questions for all the major subjects, then you can go into the areas that were not asked and then revise them as well from your NEET PG preparation notes. समझे? So the aim is to focus on the previous year questions of those major subjects. And once you're done with the previous year questions of all the major subjects, then you can go to the areas that were not previously asked for the sake of completeness. And if you have a subject that is particularly weak and difficult for you and you don't want to do it and you can't because you know कि बहुत time लग जाता है इसमें, you just do the previous year questions for that subject. ठीक है ना? So are you finding a common theme in what I'm telling you? कि everything should revolve around your knowledge of previous year questions. And now the fourth thing, and I'm sure you're familiar with this because this is the novelty factor of INICET exam, is that they test the pre and paraclinical subjects more heavily compared to the final year subjects, which is the opposite of NEET PG exam. But that does not mean that you have to become a molecular biologist or do PhD in these pre and paraclinical subjects. If you stick to the previous year questions, you will realize that they are heavily repeated again, and then you can focus on those areas to master them. And the interesting thing that I have noticed about pre and paraclinical subjects that are asked in INICET exam is that they dip the information of these subjects in a lot of clinical vignettes. So there will be a clinical vignette eventually asking you the deficiency in the enzyme, or the problem in the gene. So you have to remember those core facts that are usually tested on the exam. You can use a lot of resources. I mean, there are tables in pearls in your Marrow question bank, or you can go back to your notes and just mark them based on the questions that were asked. A lot of people prefer using First Aid, which is a book for USMLE Step 1, and they say that it works for them. It can work for you. This book has been out there in the market for around 30 years now. People have cracked INICET exam, AIIMS exam, NEET PG exam without this book as well. A lot of people are doing it with the book as well. But the one common thing I have noticed is people who prepare for USMLE, particularly Step 1, they obviously have good foundation in terms of pre and paraclinical subjects. And because they have good foundation in pre and paraclinical subjects, and they have acquired that information from various sources, also from First Aid, they are able to crack INICET exam easily because they are good in pre and paraclinical subjects, not necessarily because of First Aid. But First Aid nevertheless is a good book that can help you review information in a concise manner. But if you already have tables with you that have put or summarized these things in one place for you to revise, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a new book just to crack this exam. You can do it without that as well. Now, the fifth most important thing, and I feel after understanding the importance of previous year questions, this is the other important thing that you should understand. You should be able to revise everything that you have read just a few days before the exam. And this is something that I've noticed common among all the toppers who have cracked this exam. So if a few people would have done it, I would have thought it was an off thing, but everyone who has topped the exam have one common thing, and they have been able to revise everything that they have read in the last few days. So you have to find a way to revise everything that you have read in these last 2 or 3 days before the exam. So to help you understand the importance of this, imagine you preparing for your prof exams, right? So whenever we had a prof exam the next day, we would slog so hard the day before, probably do a night out, probably read till the morning before the exam and then go to the exam. Why? Because we wanted that sense of confidence. We wanted that sense of familiarity that we know the whole subject. We have seen the whole subject. We have revised the whole subject before going for the exam. And that is the same thing that you need to do before these exams. You need to revise all of it to gain that confidence in the exam hall. So sir, but तब तो सिर्फ एक ही सब्जेक्ट था, थोड़े क्वेश्चंस थे पढ़ने के. यहाँ पे we have 19 subjects and there is so much information to revise. Do you really think it is practically possible to revise all the subjects a few days before the exam? Obviously not. You can't do everything. That is the point. You have to know what you will revise before going for the exam rather than revising everything, so that you can do that only if you have things prepared short span of time. कैसे करोगे? 20th book. So if you've been preparing the 20th book, it has all the things that are necessary, things that you will forget, and this will be handy to revise just a day before the exam. Some of you make post-its and you stick them on the wall before going to the exam. Just read all the post-its. That's what you need to do. It has the information that you will forget, and it is valuable for the exam. In this age of technology, all of us have cell phones, and we have been using those cell phones to take photos and screenshots in class and of notes. Now is the time to open it up and read and revise them, because photo खींच के मतलब क्या अगर if you are not going to revise it. This is the time to revise, right? Of all the screenshots that you have WhatsApped yourself. Now people do that. People make WhatsApp groups to themselves and they send images to themselves to be able to revise. उसको revise करो. So you must have bookmarked questions also which you thought किया ये भूल रहा हूँ मैं, इसको मुझे revise करना है. This is the time to do that. So last few days will help you revise your core weak areas, and also will give you that sense of satisfaction कि you are able to complete one subject after another. You can do that subject wise, you can do that topic wise, you can do it randomly, however you like. The point is जितना ये information वो last 2 to 3 days में एक बार फिर से revise करके जाना है. And if you can do all of these 5 things, and one more very important thing, that is hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, I really think you can crack this exam. I want to sincerely congratulate you for being brave enough to click on this video and trying to find out how to crack this exam, and really wish and pray that you do. I wish you all the best, and I will see you on the other side. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.